All right, chapter 6 test review. This is the first test review. Just a reminder, you guys will have 3 by the end before you take your test. So this was the first one. I'm going to go over all the questions and show my work so you guys have the answers for these. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. It says find the indicated measure, explain your reasoning. So with these, you just had to explain what theorem did you use. So looking at the first one, because it's a perpendicular, it's a perpendicular, but I don't know if it's bisecting, and because my segments are congruent, it is bisecting. So this one's going to be converse, a perpendicular bisector theorem. All right, now with that, because they are congruent, I'm solving for x. It's 20 equals 7x minus 15. Add 15 to both sides. You're going to get 35 equals 7x. Divide both sides by 7. X equals 5. They're not asking me for x. What they're asking me for is this segment right here. So I need to go ahead and take that 5 and plug it in. So I'm going to do 7 times 5 minus 15. I'm going to get 35 minus 15. And DC equals 20 as my answer. All right, looking at number 2. This one I have an angle bisector. And that's telling me that these segments are then going to be congruent. So for this one, I used angle bisector theorem. And what are they asking me for? They're asking me for RS or SR, this segment right here. And because they're congruent, I'm going to go ahead and set them congruent to each other. I'm going to have 6x plus 5 equals 9x minus 4. Subtract 6 to both sides of my equal sign. I'm going to get 5 equals 3x minus 4. Add 4 to both sides of my equal sign. I'm going to get 9 equals 3x. Divide by 3. X equals 3. Again, they're not asking me for x, so I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. 9 times 3 minus 4, I'm going to get 27 minus 4, and RS is 23. And number 3, for this one, I'm still dealing with angles. This one you're going to use the converse of angle bisector theorem. This one was pretty easy. Yes, I told you guys to skip this one. I actually meant to tell you to skip number 5. But I'll get to that one. This one was pretty easy. If you didn't do it, that's fine. I feel like we should know what this one is. What would my angle be? Good. My angle would be the measure of angle JFH is 47 degrees because they're both congruent. All right, questions on 1, 2, and 3. We're good with 1, 2, and 3? Okay, let's go ahead to the next ones. So yes, I told you to skip number 3, but I meant to tell you to skip number 5. If you solved number 5, and if you solved it correctly, your answer should have been 4, 3. However, you do not have to know how to do that one because on your test, you will only be given right triangles to find the circumcenter. So yes, don't have to worry about that. But if you did it correctly, it should have been 4, 3. All right, so looking at number 4, this is going to give you a right triangle. So graphing it, T is -6, -5. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right here, U is 0, -1, and V is 0, -5. So graphing your triangle, they're asking for the circumcenter. So that has to deal with your perpendicular bisectors. So this is bisecting my segment and it's perpendicular. And then this is my midpoint. That's where it's bisecting. And that is perpendicular. So when you're looking at it, it is intersecting at this point right here, which is -3, -3. So your answer for number 4, -3, -3. And then looking at number 6, they're giving us a diagram. It says point D is the incenter of triangle LMN. Find the value of X. So what do we know about the incenter? Okay, we know that these segments right here are going to be congruent. They're all the same measure. So with knowing that X is going to equal 5. So that hopefully was a pretty easy one. Those segments are all equidistant, okay? These are all equidistant from the center. All right, 6-3. Looking at 6-3, you had to do 7 and 8. You did not have to do 9 and 10, so I'm just going to go ahead and cross those out. So 7 and 8, it's asking find the coordinates of the centroid of the triangle with the given vertices. When you see that you're finding coordinates for centroid, yes, you can use the trick. So looking at this one, 7. For 7, I'm going to have -10 plus -4 plus -4 divided by 3. And then 3 plus 5 plus 1. So taking all my x values, adding them together, dividing them by 3. Taking all my y values, adding them together, dividing by 3. I'm going to have -18 over 3 and 9 over 3. So that would give me my answer of -6, 3. So this is -6, 3. And then 8, going ahead and doing the same thing. So looking at number 8, taking my values again, I'm going to have 2 plus 2 plus 8. These are my x's. And then my y's is -8 plus -2 plus -2 over 3. Adding them, I'm going to get 12 over 3 and -12 over 3. So my coordinates is going to be 4, -4. And that's for number 8. Questions on 7 and 8. All right, 11 and 12. 11 and 12, the question says, find the coordinates of the vertices of the mid-segment triangle for the triangle with the given vertices. So if you're looking or if you're wondering mid-segment triangle, you have to have 3 coordinates. Your mid-segment is just those midpoints of the segment. Okay, so if you're looking at the diagram up here, this is one, and my third one should have been somewhere over here. Clearly it has to be in the middle. So that's what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find those 3 points. So for these, all you had to do was take the midpoints of all of your segments. So I'm going to go ahead and do AB. AB is a segment. Midpoint formula. Okay, I'm finding my midpoint. Add them, divide by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. -6 plus -6 divided by 2. And then I'm going to have 8 plus 4 divided by 2. So I'm going to get -12 over 2. 12 over 2. So my first point is going to be -6, 6. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do BC. -6 plus 0 divided by 2. 4 plus 4 divided by 2. I'm going to get -6 over 2 and 8 over 2, which simplifies to -3, 4. And then I need to do CA. Okay, that's also a segment for my triangle. I have -6 plus 0 divided by 2, 8 plus 4 divided by 2. I'm going to get -6 over 2 and 12 over 2, which is going to give me -3, 6. So my answer for 11 should have been -6, 6, -3, 4, and -3, 6. All 3 of those vertices are my answer. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for 12. If you graphed it, that's fine. Okay, if you used a graph and try to figure them out, that's perfectly fine. Sometimes it'll be a little harder if it's not a right triangle maybe, or maybe you can get a fraction. You can get a fraction or you can get a decimal, that's fine. But looking at 12, I'm going to have DE. DE, I'm going to have -3 plus 3 over 2, 1 plus 5 over 2, 0 over 2, and 6 over 2. It's going to give me 0, 3. EF, 3 plus 1 over 2, 5 minus 5, or 5 plus -5 over 2. I'm going to get 4 over 2 and 0 over 2, which simplifies to 2, 0. And then FD, -3 plus 1, 1 minus 5, or 1 plus -5. So I'm then going to get -2 over 2 and -4 over 2, which simplifies to -1, -2. So my answer for 12 should have been all three of my coordinates, 0, 3, 2, 0, and -1, -2. Questions on 11 and 12. Okay, 13 and 14 and 15, 16 you could have skipped. Question says, describe the possible lengths of the third side of the triangle and the given lengths of the other sides. So I just really needed the lengths of the sides. So keep in mind it's a range of numbers. So when you're looking at this, you need to get that range. How am I getting that range? I'm getting that range by the sum and the difference. So I'm going to go ahead and first add 4 plus 8. That's going to give me 12. And then subtract 8 minus 4, which is going to give me 4. So my range is going to be, my value of my side has to be greater than 4, but less than 12. Please make sure you guys are writing it this way because you will see it this way on the test. 14, same thing. Subtract or adding, I'm going to do that first. And then subtracting to get my smallest. So my answer for 14 is going to be your value of your side has to be greater than 3, but less than 15. And then doing 15, same thing, adding, and then subtracting to get your smallest value. And again, your third length has to be greater than 7, but less than 29. All right, questions, comments, concerns on 13, 14, and 15. Okay, and the last two, I did two diagrams so you could see it. So it says if RQ and RS are equal and the measure of angle QRT is greater than the measure of angle SRT, then how does QT compare to ST? So for this one, I would recommend plugging in numbers, okay, so you can visually see it. So I'm going to say this is 30 degrees. This is 15 degrees. So now I'm going to go ahead and look at my opposite sides. I have ST and I have QT. Which one's greater? QT. So I'm going to write it as QT is greater than ST. This would be my answer, and same thing for the next one. If RT equals RS and QT is greater than ST, so I'm just going to go ahead and give them values. Then how does angle QRT compare to angle SRT? So again, if QT is my larger side, then the measure of angle QRT is going to be larger than the measure of angle SRT. And this would be my answer. Don't put a line here because that means equal to, and that is not correct. So make sure that line is not there. So this should not be there. All right, questions, comments, concerns on your review. We're good? All right, you have another review for homework. It is 10 questions. It is review number 2, due tomorrow morning. And don't forget your test is Tuesday, the 19th.